and welcome to the LMS Extra Show. Lenny on board down at the Mothership Studio, Sisters Uptown Bookstore. Oh, we have a young lady all the way from Louisville to Kentucky, where they had a Kentucky Derby and they drink the mint juleps every year. and they have home of Moonhead. Moonhead, we go there. Oh, Moonhead. We go to a politics. Moonhead pull the tape. I don't want to go where all this going on here. So Moonhead. Well, enough of him. LMS, though, we don't talk about politics, no religion, nothing like that. Preachers are not welcome. Politicians are not welcome. No, I got my own politics and I got my own religion. Well, enough of that. Moonhead. Give us your name, my friend.
Dee Dee Cummings.
Say that. My son always said, say it one more time.
Dee Dee Cummings.
Say it one more time, you don't mind.
Dee Dee Cummings.
Yeah, I'm a Dee Dee Cummings. Woo! I guess. They used to make tobacco down in Louisville, right?
Yes, they do.
Do they still do?
Do they still smoke it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's the biggest city in Kentucky, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Home of a lot of places. The Kentucky's, I always think about my Colonel Sanders. I do.
He's your colonel?
He's
your colonel?
Yeah, well, everybody's colonel. No, I mean, every time I think about Kentucky. And then, what else they had? Oh, boy.
Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali, the greatest of them all. I love Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Tell us something about yourself, Dee Dee Cummings, in your book.
Well, I'm from Louisville, like you said, and I come here a couple times to be with Miss Jennifer at Sisters Uptown Bookstore.
Yes.
She invites me in to sell my books.
You were doing children's books today, right?
I was doing an author meet and greet for children's books. I specialize in children's books that have brown characters. So that's why I was here today.
Brown characters. Now, we ain't got nothing against nobody else, but you specialize.
Well, there's lots of books.
Yeah, but we have
other
to.
Characters.
You know, we have to
write our own stories.
Hello, you keep letting Hollywood write these stories all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say. I'll say something off the stage. I don't want to say everything I want to say here, but this book here, well, this could go all year round. Oh, now this is one holiday after that that comes and it goes. Christmas. Oh, Lord. I mean, they commercialize it so much. They commercialize what they did when we were younger. Tell us about this book. Tell us about this book. In the Nick of Time. Tell us about this book.
This book is called In the Nick of Time, and I wrote it because I have a son who's about this age myself. He's 10 now. Well, he's 11 now. He was 10 when this book came out. And he loves Christmas because he loves the way it makes him feel, and he loves the holidays. He loves to help people. So he learned an important lesson about not just getting gifts, but also giving, that Christmas is not
That's so important. You know, that is so important.
It's very important.
Giving is so important.
Also in this book, the Brown character uses the word stupid a lot. When he's talking about his friends or mistakes they made, he constantly says, that's so stupid, that's dumb. And I intentionally put that in there because we have a leader right now who constantly puts people down. And so our country was kind of like going the right way with the Me Too.
Won't mention the name. You know what the name is. Go ahead. Leave it at that. Go ahead.
And anti-bullying. And then all of a sudden, it was everywhere again. And a lot of kids, especially in Kentucky, there are a lot of stories about kids making fun of people from certain cultures, and then they say, well, the president does it. So I wrote this book for many reasons, the ones I already stated, but I also wrote it because there are a lot of holiday books out there, and this is the first book where a brown kid gets to help Santa Claus save Christmas. There's lots of books where white children get to help Santa save Christmas, but there really aren't that many holiday books with featuring brown characters. So I wrote this because my son wanted to see a book with someone that looked like him in the book.
So in short, you found a need and you fill it.
Yes.
And it came from your son. So you people said, you know, you get ideas from all different sources.
Yes, that was the inspiration, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. How long did you take to put this book together?
It only took me about 6 months to put this book together. But this is my 11th book, so the first book took like a year, maybe 14 months. The more I've done it, the easier the process has gotten.
Also, too, you self-publish your books, right?
I self-published my books, and there was a family in here earlier. There was some little brown kids that bought the books, and they were like so excited about getting the books. And one of the moms told me, kind of what you said before we started this. One of the moms said, "I've always wanted to write a book," and I told her to do it. Just, you know, write your story, because if you pass away, there's only one person who can really adequately tell your story, and it's easier than ever to self-publish books. It's not that hard to self-publish books. Like in the 80s, when I first started wanting to write books, you had to go through a major publishing house if you wanted to get into a bookstore or into a library. It was very hard. The door was closed. But
it's close to a certain extent, though.
It is still close to a certain extent, but it's easier than ever for you to tell your story and self-publish it, or even get it in an ebook, which is even easier.
Tell us about ebook. Tell us about the ebook.
The ebook is, you know, everybody has a phone now. And so everybody has access to podcasts, and everybody has access to ebooks. You might not realize that, but everybody has that capacity on their phone. And there are many ebooks out there that are 99 cents, $4.99. And basically those authors are really just trying to get their message out and get the cost of what it took to put that ebook together. But it's very simple. If you have a story that you want to tell, and writing it up and putting it into an ebook, and you can use programs like Kindle On Demand or KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing. Amazon has their own publishing company now. There's Ingram Spark, there's Lulu. There's lots of companies that you can go to, and you can pay $100 to $200, and they will actually give you this.
As the late Jimmy Durante used to say, everybody wants to get into the act, right?
Right. But podcasting is free. Podcasting
takes
very little, and that's another way to get your story out there too.
Yes.
And you can download a podcast on your phone very easily.
Yeah, I remember one of the hosts of the radio show mentioned, he said, "Well, you know something? Everybody, even your dentist got a podcast."
Yeah.
You know, but that's another story. So, the Golden State of Kentucky. This is the Earth. What's this book about?
That book is about, a lot of people think it's about the environment because it's called This is the Earth, so sometimes people pick it up and they say, "Oh, I love books about saving the Earth," but it's really about saving us.
Really. Go ahead.
A book about, again, kind of inspired by what's going on in politics. And I'm like you, I don't like to get too political, but obviously we're divided as a country. And this book is targeting a younger generation to try to teach them that there's nothing wrong with just hearing someone's story. That's all we ask you to do, is hear someone's story. We don't have to agree.
No.
You don't have to like it, but we all have to live on this earth. Every one of us is a neighbor, and while I'm very proud to be black, I really believe that we come from one human race.
Yes, the human race.
And so we all have to share this planet, and we have to get along, or we'll self-destruct.
And I agree, that's kind of it's sad though, but it is, you know, I think the young people, you know, nowadays is going to end up going to save the earth, right?
Hopefully.
Save a little louder.
Hopefully, yes.
I believe they're gonna save, you know. And I'm gonna say this: some of my hostess ain't do too much of a good job. Did a piss poor job. You know, I think what falls too is that we never taught the young, and people don't know like their ancestry, you know, where they come from. You know, like my grandmother sat back there when I was a little boy, sat back and told about, you know, about my, you know, about her father, her mother, other people who come before her. And they, you just don't Nowadays, well, I teach my kids the best way I can. You know, look, this is the deal out here,
Right.
and we must, you know, as Mom and Gay had in What's Going On album, save the babies. I don't know, it's not the best thing in the world, but we got to save the babies. You know, coming into this world.
We have to save the babies because the babies are what's going to save us. But
yeah, really.
Just as important as teaching ancestry is we are not teaching people how to be better human beings. So I'm a therapist in Louisville, Kentucky, and I work in schools a lot.
Okay.
And you know, there's this big book called the DSM-5 that has all these codes in it to tell you what's wrong with you. So, you know, all of us have one of these codes. We all have anxiety or depression, or even if you don't think you're anxious or depressed, you might have an adjustment disorder. So there's this book that has all these codes that tells us, you know, these categories of what's wrong with us. And some of the black therapists in Louisville say, you know, there's no code for no home training. So, you know, we are raising a culture of kids that, you know, I get called to schools all the time because kids don't just know how to say I'm angry. They don't know how to just solve a problem. So instead, you know, literally, they set a trash can on fire. That's how they tell you they're angry. So then you've got all these people around them saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you so angry? Why won't you talk? And that is the way they communicate. Because they haven't been taught to just say, I'm upset and here's why. And here's how you can help me with it. And if you really want to help me, then help me fix this problem. So they do things to get your attention, which make them look bad.
That's like a baby, like sometimes a baby
cries out.
He cries it off, and you know, because you know he or she can't really talk yet, you know, but they had to cry it off, and you say, well, what's wrong?
Yeah.
You know, what's wrong? You know, but you know, well, a grown kid. You know, it's a different story. It is. So, you know, we talk about Louisville. Talk about Kentucky, and we were talking about. Well, I had to give them a plug, and that's why I put it on Professor. That's why I put it on YouTube, because this organization is doing a wonderful job in literacy, and it's Dollar General.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Dollar General does a lot in Kentucky and Tennessee, and probably other areas too, but because I'm from Kentucky, I have a lot of exposure to Kentucky and Tennessee. But Dollar General is huge in those states, and they do a lot to fund literacy programs. Literacy has been very important to Dollar General, and you can see it. You know, they put their money where their mouth is, and you can see it in a lot of literacy programs that are held in Kentucky and Tennessee. Dollar General is always a supporter. So it's just something that's been very important to them, and they've sponsored programs to help improve literacy, which goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about not having home training. You know, if you're literate, then it doesn't just mean I can pick up this book and read it. It means I can understand the characters. I can understand their motivations. I can understand the deeper layer, the more complex layer of problem solving. I can see how they solved a problem in the book, and then I can think, well, maybe that's a good way to solve a problem. Maybe I should try that myself. So when you can't read, you miss all of that.
You sure do. You know, I'm going to mention it. We had to close off. Reading is so important. We're in a bookstore now. And well, even some of the regular bookstores are sort of dying out a little bit too, because people don't want to read. And especially with us, all the information you want is in a book. I sat back and learned a lot off of a book. I was reading a book today. I think I told the professor about China. Now people sit back here and think, well, you know, they lump them all together. No, baloney. You can't lump them all together, because in China, in the Republic of China, in China, they have different parts of China where people do different things. And you know, I learned off of that. And
you'd never known that if you wouldn't have read that book.
No, I remember we did a show. We did an extra show, and the tour company took us down there, took us to Delaware, and we went to a school. And they told us about pizza, you know, like, well, actually the Chinese, they write pizza and everything else, but I took pictures, and I put it up on the social media. You know, I got a response back. And the guy said that he was glad I came down there, you know, take pictures. You know, that was so nice. Don't know the guy now, but I think reading, you know, I came home last night, and in the lobby, there was a young lady reading Think and Grow Rich. And I said, how you like that book? She said, it's a very good book. I said, you know, if enough of our people read that book, I don't care if you would say this, well, he's a Caucasian, oh, baloney. The man wrote a book. The book is 80, close to over 80 years old. A lot of books you sit back and look for them, now they're out of print. This guy's book is out, Napoleon Hill's book is never out of print. He talks about a mastermind, he talks about this, and you know, he wrote a second book, and the book, he had a problem with that second book. Not a problem, but it was released later on after his death. And he talks about, you know, he attacks a lot of people on that second book, but he really attacked him, but he tells the truth. And the information that he got, the information he got off of Think and Grow Rich is off of people who made money, bunch of money. Not out on the street corner. I mean, made real big money. And he show you their pluses and he show you their minuses. And
how else are we going to learn these things if we don't read it in a book? You mentioned pizza. Let me throw that out to you.
Yes.
Louisville is the home of Yum Brands.
Yes.
Which is the home of your Colonel.
Oh, okay. I like him though.
Louisville's the home of Yum Brands.
He's a colorful guy though.
And Yum Brands owns KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
Taco Bell. And Pizza Hut.
Yes.
And Pizza Hut has a nationwide program called Book It. And they also support a lot of literacy efforts, just like Dollar General. So that's also in the home of Louisville, the Book It program.
Well, we're not saying we saying is that one must, you know, if I'm like this. Let me do this real clear. I don't care what color you is. You got to support. You have to give back. Is that true?
I agree.
Is that true?
Yes.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to give. Don't come and just take my money. You know, you had some in the community somewhere. You just, I mention names. Take my money. You know, you ain't gonna get my money if you don't give back my money to help the community. Like this bookstore here helps the community. Sisters help the community.
That's why I like that it's not just called a bookstore. Like a lot of bookstores are just called a bookstore. I love that it's called Bookstore and Cultural Center.
Yes.
So there was another little girl in here today that came to see me while I was doing my author meet and greet. And she talked about how this bookstore has everything, and she loved playing the bongos. So she's not just learning about books, she's learning about music and the art that hangs on the walls. So I like Sisters because it's not just a bookstore, but it's a bookstore and a cultural center.
Give Sisters a big hand. Now we give all this big hand to Sister. Support the sister. What you do statistically come around the black bookstore, we ain't talking about the big chains, but statistically, there's only about 50 of them left, right?
Right. Yeah, they're a dinosaur.
You know, like Fats Domino said, ain't that a shame? It is a shame, you know.
It is.
But we got to, because books will set you free.
Yep.
I always say this, I'll leave with this. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Somebody break in your house. Oh my goodness! They take. You see, already laughing already.
I know what's coming.
They take the stereo. They look in the drawer, see you got any money, you know. Oh, there ain't nothing there. Oh, I gotta get out real fast. Let me take your computer. Let me take this. Let me take that. Let me take this. You know, go down the staircase with it and get guy on. These dummies don't know people got cameras all over the place, but that's another story. One thing that is safe, folks, you don't have, and I got plenty of those in the house. Your books are safe. You had on that, your books, you had nothing to worry about. You can put all your dollar bills in that book.
That's right. A treasure, yeah.
Nobody look good. And then little they know that book. You know, they don't have to do the silly things that they do.
That's right.
Book ain't wants everybody to sympathize with. I can't sympathize with you. You should have learned the first time. On that note, I'd like to thank you very much for coming. Give these customers extra special. And take it out.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Well, since we're on the YouTube, how can people reach you? How can I get in touch with you? Jerry Butler would say, go ahead.
My self-publishing company is called Makeaway Media, and makeawaymedia.com is the website, but I'm also on all the social media under Makeaway Media. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me through any of those channels.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, take it down.